What's going on, GameLeapers? This is Ease. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the changes for 13.8. These are the real changes. These are the details that we were talking about in yesterday's listed changes video, so make sure you stick around for the whole thing. We've also got a couple more inclusions and exclusions. So some champions we mentioned yesterday are not getting changed. Some champions we didn't mention will be getting changed. So of course, make sure you stick around for the whole video. If you do actually want to improve though, guys, do you think like Alistair's ultimate lasting a little bit longer means anything? It doesn't, alright? Like, you're still going to be the same hard-stuck Alistair player. Same with all these other champions. Well, apart from maybe a couple, because some of the buffs and even nerfs do look a little bit cooked. But yeah, if you actually want to improve, guys, our challenger players and coaches are uploading daily content to the website GameLeap.com. Link down below in the description and comment section. If you don't improve and therefore climb, because that's already what climbing is, I will be amazed. This fast food stuff we're putting on YouTube, like, it doesn't mean anything, bro. You can watch it for a bit of fun, but that wound you're trying to treat, bro, like, this is just a band-aid, man. It's still gonna be there at the end of the day. Anyway, let's get into the 13.8 changes. So first of all, let's talk about champion buffs, and we'll go in alphabetical order here. So Alistair, yeah, I mentioned it just then. Your ultimate is going to last 1.5 seconds longer. This means that you will be tankier, for sure, in those team fights, and yeah, I think this is fine. I don't think it will really, like, improve his win rate by all that much. They're buffing Alistair a lot as well recently. Maybe there's a skin coming out. But yeah, Alistair, this buff, whatever. Now, Ezreal is also getting buffed, guys. Your base attack damage is going up by 2 from 60 to 62, which means pretty much just early game, you're going to be better off. And I think this is nice for Ezreal, because your big weak point is your early game. In the late game, once you start getting, you know, lots of Qs off, you start getting the Essence Reaver, Mana Moon, Prox Rat, you're going to be chilling. But until that point, it's actually pretty difficult, especially in lane at the moment. There are lots of champions who, well, you just give a free lane to because you're really not the strongest laner. But in the meta at the moment, Ezreal can really fit in, because against engaged champions, he does really well because of his arcane shift. Think about Blitzcrank Thresh. It should be impossible to kill an Ezreal, like if they actually have their screen turned on, so whenever his early game gets buffed, he actually becomes even better. And because the meta is what it is at the moment, I think Ezreal will actually have a place in the 13.8 meta. We might even see him picked a little bit more in pro play. Now, Garen is getting some pretty sizable buffs here, guys. So your base attack damage, a bit like Ezreal's, is increasing, but it's increasing by 3, from 66 to 69. So in the early game, early laning phase, your attacks are going to be dealing a little bit more damage. Also, your base armor is going up by 2 as well. This means that if you're playing Garen in the top lane, for the most part, you're going to be going against attack damage champions. Base armor going up means you're going to be more resistant to that attack damage. So not only are you dishing a little bit more, but you're not taking as much as before. So 13.8 Garen could actually be a problem. Now, moving down to the supports, we have Janna here, who we didn't actually really mention in yesterday's video. And yeah, Janna is getting buffed. So your W, the actual base damage, is going up by 10. The AP ratio is going up 20%, and the decay delay in your E is doubling from 1.25 to 2.5 seconds. These buffs for Janna, I mean the W damage buff going up. This might mean you might actually want to max your W a little bit earlier, and the AP ratio going up as well. Well, it might be useful once you get Shurelya's battle song, because this is still giving you 40 AP. But again, I don't really think like these are the biggest buffs in the world. They might mean something, but at the moment, Janna is kind of struggling in the meta because engaged champions do really cuck her, like Thresh, Blitzcrank are very hard to lane against. Nautilus is pretty difficult, right? So Janna isn't having the best time. So these buffs, for sure they're buffs, but I don't really think anything is going to change too much. But a champion who is going to change, in my opinion anyway, a lot in 13.8 is Kha'Zix. So because of the changes in 13.7, where they pretty much made your W a non-ability, Kha'Zix needs a bit more power here to be able to compete in the jungle still. So what Riot are doing, they're increasing your Q's base damage by 10 at each rank. This is really big. Like your Q's base damage, this is the ability you're maxing first, so you're getting the max juice out of this. And because your Q is such a big part of your like isolation and nuke damage, you know, your 100 to 0 actual combo, this is really big for Kha'Zix. This means that, well, particularly in the early game as well, because the damage is going up. This will also help with your clear as well, don't forget. But yes, this will help you secure kills and hopefully get the snowballs going a lot earlier than what you are right now. So a pretty nice patch for the cockroach. Now moving down to the bot lane, we have Pogmore, aka Kog'Maw, and your passive damage is increasing a little bit in the early game, up to 100 in the late game. Your Q's cooldown is also going down by a second, and your E's mana cost is going down, and the slow is increasing. Honestly, kind of placebo. Your E really isn't a big part of your kit if you're playing like, you know, attack speed on hit Kog'Maw, but your passive damage when you go boom makes it a little bit scarier for people to like dive you under tower during the laning phase, because you aren't the strongest champion, especially at the moment with Lulu and Yuumi being kind of weak and those engaged supports being strong. It's pretty scary playing in the bot lane. And your Q's cooldown going down. Your Q is actually a really useful ability, but it's not really going to actually like empower Kog'Maw that much. So 13.8, I still think it will be a lot of the same to what is happening to Kog'Maw right now. Kind of an okay AD carry, but doesn't stack up to the best AD carries in the bot lane. Now staying in the bot lane, another support getting buffed is Leona. So your bonus armor and magic resist you get from your W is increasing by 10 at each rank, and also the magic damage dealt from your W is also up by 10. If we compare Leona to those strong engaged supports at the moment, so if we're talking like Blitzcrank, maybe even Pyke, Thresh, Nautilus, she doesn't match up to them. This is why she's getting buffed. I think these buffs are really nice as well. They They make you tankier, they make your all-in like a lot better because of the magic damage from your W. So Leona could actually be picked a heck of a lot more in 13.8, and she does well against lots of champions in the bot lane, and given the meta at the moment, I think she'll definitely be played more and win more because of these. Now, Lilia in the jungle is getting buffed, guys, so the monster damage cap you have, this is going up in the early game. This helps your clear speed, of course. The monster healing you're getting, this is also increasing in terms of base healing early on, but it is decreasing later, but that's because you're getting a lot more AP out of it, so the actual percentage is going up to 15% rather than being just around 5%. So as you start getting AP from your items, right, this base healing nerf, it will actually just be a buff at pretty much every single rank. Then we have champion healing as well, which is going down in the later stages of a game, but just like the monster healing, it is scaling more of your AP, 30% of it. These are nice buffs for Lilia, and they'll definitely see her win rate improve. Now, a champion on this list who I think is getting the biggest like kind of buffs of all, this is Nidalee. So your base armor is going from 28 to 32. Your armor growth is going from 4.7 to 5. So not like the biggest increase in the world, but for Nidalee, like I don't think you have any counters in the jungle anyway, and because you're going to be so much tankier just innately, this means like you might not even have to build like a Zhonya's. You can probably go something like, I don't know what, Shadow Flame, Death Cap, there's a bunch of options. You can go second item like After Night Harvester or Rocket Belt. This is just so big for you. She's going to be so much harder to kill. Most junglers as well are going to be attack damage based, so Nidalee is going to be the queen of the jungle again, and I think this is really risky as well for high reloads. I think she'll be permabanned, but all you Cougar mains out there, you should be super stoked about this. Now, Poppy is another jungler, potentially getting buffed here, so your Q's target HP damage is increasing by 1%, and the bonus resistances you get from your W, they're increasing to 12%, so pretty much like a 20% buff here, and these are nice for Poppy, especially considering the Q's target HP damage might be useful in the top lane. So yeah, Poppy getting buffs, these will definitely help her out. Unfortunately, guys, if you're playing Zoe in 13.8, well, at the moment, she's not getting buffed next patch. She's actually been pulled from the patch, and honestly, for good reason. I don't know why they put Zoe on this list. I said in yesterday's video, right? Don't know why she's getting buffed. She's still so good in like solo queue, which is where like 99.9% of us play. It's a little bit weird to put her on here, so I kind of understand why they pulled her from the patch, but a little bit disappointing for you Zoe mains. Now, champion nerfs. There are 5 champions here, so we have an extra addition here, guys. So Aurelion Sol is getting nerfed, so your HP growth is going down by 5. This means you'll have less HP in the late game. Whenever Aurelion Sol has like a Rylai's, if you are going Rod of Ages, don't really recommend it, but if you are, right, you have a lot of HP. You're very hard to kill in the mid to late game, and most games, in lower reloads in particular, are going to go to the late game, and Aurelion Sol will make use of this HP. This going down, I think it's fine. Your armor growth is also getting nerfed as well, though. This means that, yeah, again, in the mid to late game, you're going to be more killable. There's going to be more counterplay to this champion because, yeah, for most people, I think it's just very difficult to play against him. Once he gets to like level 15, 16, etc., the game becomes kind of unplayable, and there is very little actually to do against this champion, making him more killable. I actually think it's good. Now, J4 is getting nerfed as well, and I think this just makes sense, right? This champion is just the ultimate jungler at the moment. Your AD growth is going down. Less damage in the mid to late game. Your Q's damage as well is going down by 10 at each rank, and this is big for J4 because your Q, well, it's your main source of damage. This means in terms of clear speed, dueling, ganking, you're dealing less damage, there's going to be less kills for you on the map, so J4 will be worse off. I still think he'll be good, by the way, but just not as good. Now, Kayn, Shadow Assassin Kayn, guys, is a new addition here. So your Shadow E, the cooldown is actually going up by 1 second. And the bonus movement speed you get from your E, this is going down from 80% to 70%. So these are definitely nerfs. Your win rate will decrease a little bit, but you're still maintaining a lot of the power you already had. And the E cooldown going up by 1 second, you're still going to be able to use this a lot once you actually do get a lot of ability haste right from your items. Shadow Assassin Kayn should still be fine, but I actually kind of like agree with him getting nerfed. I think he's a super good champion at the moment. The blue version of Kayn, that is, not Ras. Ras is still kind of trash. But yeah, blue Kayn getting nerfed for sure. Now, we also have Malphite, also known as Mr. Rock, according to the change list. And your first auto attack on your W, the base damage is decreasing if you put more points in this. So Ryder may be trying to discourage you guys from actually putting points in your W, because that is like really the most OP version of Malphite, Grasp the Undying with a W max. So yes, you getting less damage from your W when you put more points into it. Kind of makes sense if that's their aim. And your cleave armor ratio, okay, from your W is going down as well. So based off the armor you actually have, your W will be dealing less damage. So nerfs to Malphite for sure if you're maxing W, so we'll have to see how Rock Solid performs in 13.8, but it definitely won't be as good as what he's doing in 13.7. Last champion here, guys, getting nerfed, this is Rakan. Your base armor is going down by 2, and your armor growth is also decreasing. Lots of buffs and nerfs like this in this patch, but that's what's happening to Rakan. This means that your early game, well, you're just going to be more exploitable, right, and hopefully more killable because the champion is just so good at the moment, and your armor growth going down means in the mid to late game, yeah, you're going to be more killable as well. You just can't like blindly engage into a team fight and be chilling, so you're going to have to pick your spot a little bit more as Rakan, be a little bit more calculated. So those are the buffs and nerfs, guys, for the champions in 13.8. Thank you so much for watching the video. Any questions, any thoughts you have, leave them in the comment section, and until our next season 13 upload, this has been Eags. Peace.